Greetings and salutations. Ben here, and welcome to the Sunday Night hanging right here on, well, Sundays, right here on the YouTubes. If you're new, please subscribe, and if you're returning, of course, welcome back. And speaking of welcome back, we're talking backstage. We got stuff to talk about, folks. We got all kinds of topics. My good friend and brother in tone, Charles Greene. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, Ben. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you guys. It's really good to see you. Hope everyone's doing well. It's
awesome.
Been a busy week as usual.
We got a bunch of people in here. Let's see who. I'm going to scroll up to the top.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we've got JP Page 2, Herb of Fireside Studio, Ryan Oyewa 2, Billy Baloney, Paul McNary, and the Cats. Good to see you. Let's see who else do we have here. Hit Metalworks is here.
Hey, Metalworks.
Ferd Berfel. Great to see you, Ferd.
Good to see you, Ferd. Right on, brother.
Charles 75N. He speaking of busy, he's getting busy again. I'm just saying.
Of course.
I was texting with him last night, and he's up to his elbows again on projects. Josh Tamberg knows what we're talking about. Dave Chase is here.
Right on, bro. Hey, good to see you, man.
There's Gary, Guitar 1952. Dave Chase, Patrick Treitz. Unfucking believable.
Hey, all right, guys. Unbelievable. Awesome.
Brother Symmetry, lurking while he's eating.
What's going on, Trev? Right on, brother.
Hey, the legend himself, Fruitcake Tony in the chat.
Hey,
he's
Tony, how you doing, man? It's good to see you, Tony.
Wow. Okay. Noted, Tony. Noted. Lawrence Cash is here. Michael Lepancy, Blackjack Guitar, All Dave, All Night. Michael Krause. Wow.
Michael.
Christopher Live Sawa.
Christopher.
Awesome.
Right there, brother.
Robert Purdy. Richard Nagamitsu.
Hey,
he's a neighbor of yours.
Yeah.
Absolute Mayhem. Mayhem. Register for Cosmo Music Fest. Registration's open.
Right there, guy.
He says that as he's forgotten to register himself thus far, but I will. Road trip. I'll text you, call you, details. Awesome. Mark Taft in the house. Max Josephson.
Hey, what's going on, Max Josephson? Very cool, man.
You can get a hall pass for tomorrow, Tony. That's fine. That's fine. Awesome. Yeah, so spring is in the air where you are. So you've been just busy burning the candle at both ends.
It's ridiculous. Sure. It's been spring here for quite a little while now, as far as everyone was concerned. I mean, it was getting a little chilly overnight for a couple of days, but it's my understanding that Sandra Picorni out there in middle America still getting snow. That's crazy. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But we are warm, guys, and it's all shorts and T-shirts and sunglasses at this moment. That's the good side of it. That's the good side of it. But no, it's all good, man.
There's Guitar Man 45, Johnny Love.
It's good to see you guys, man.
Charles Wilson,
Johnny, right on, man.
40 people in here. Mayhem wants to get right to it. He's just like, so, guys, opinions on the Mick Mars, Motley Crue litigation? Yep.
Got a couple of thoughts.
Yeah. Mick, it's interesting. You know, do I believe Nikki and think that Mick's delusional because Mick made the comment, I was the only one playing live every night. And I'm thinking, I had heard rumors to the contrary. Yeah. But on the other hand, by the time the rumors filtered to me, it might have been that, you know, like the telephone game where it was actually somebody else involving with backing tracks. I don't know how you thump out eighth notes on open strings and need a backing track to do it, but hey.
Okay, so interesting. Back for the stadium tour, it was a wonderful show.
Yeah.
First time I'd seen them in a while. Very entertaining. 90%, even 98% of the people who were there honestly could care less if they were even listening to a backing track. That's how good the moment was. It was a wonderful, the whole show, everything was wonderful. The sound, interesting. Now, when you're listening to Motley Crue, like okay, back in the very beginning, it's just three instruments and a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They have to be layered when they're recorded. They had to be stacked and made to be bigger than they were. They're constantly, since the beginning, one of their biggest challenges was to sound bigger.
Yep.
And make their music as complex as it could be with the members they had. It's one guitar, one bass, one drummer. Back in the very beginning, their music was so raw, so intense. But as they morphed and as new albums came out, and as their sound developed, their live show, not only Nasty Habits, who became a fixture, the girls, they became, and I think I'm breaking up a little bit, Ben. Can you still hear me, bro?
Yep, you're back. You were back. You're back.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Is it me?
I can hear.
It's weird. You're breaking up to me, and I'm breaking up to you. I apologize.
We're good now.
Dr. Okay. Well, during Dr. Feelgood, I started noticing during the tours, I noticed that their sound was bigger and fatter, and their stage presence had changed by that time. It was a different deal, different ballgame. But the whole talk of the backing track thing coming on and someone not playing, I would have to say, if I was to look back at the show that I saw, and if there was anyone who wasn't playing anything or who was doing that, I would have to say the only one who had the opportunity would have been Nikki, because there's a lot of other sound coming other than drums and guitar in that area of the music. And so okay, now we hear all these reports. We hear reports that from here and there. I tend to believe pretty much anything I hear Eddie Trunk say with a grain of salt, because many times it's a direct quote he's either heard, or he's just doing an interview with the person. And if they say it, I believe it, or I take it for what they're saying at the time. Although I've heard Nikki make statements that I know are not true about the early days. Just little things, no big deal. And it's been 40 flipping years, and his version might be better, but I just know that things occurred a little differently. And it's not my story to tell. It's his story, so I wouldn't be on me to even correct him. However, I noticed in this, going to the stadium tour and talking about this whole backing track and who's playing and who's not. I will say this, tonally listening to the entire show, if Motley Crue was playing to backing tracks in their music, then all three of the bands that I heard had some kind of embellishment on their music as well. I would have to say that would almost be obvious. And I don't have anything to back it up, but I'm just saying, I would say, because you can hear stuff, right?
And I believe it being a plausible thing, because literally bands have been doing it for decades, like going back to the Who played with backing tracks, but that was on purpose because that was part of the show because of the sequencing that Peter.
Thank you. Exactly right. And it's all about theatrical performance. It's about the production and the presentation.
And it's funny, Charles, because it was like, oh, look, they have to play to a click. That's so professional, because you're playing to a backing track. It has to be perfect every night and you get credit. But then immediately people get slagged for playing with backing tracks. So it's like, pick your poison on that one.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't doubt if they were using maybe some vocal tracks as well. Not so much pitch correction as enunciation, because if someone's holding their fist with a mic in front of their mouth, nobody can tell if he's synced or not.
I agree. Mick's legitimate. Okay. I'm amazed. We were talking about this for the last 2 years. We've all in this whole community have talked about it. I know on Fruitcake Tony's show, we went pretty deep on this. Hey, what's going on, bro? We went pretty deep on this on a couple of times. Mick has legitimate medical issues, but I believe that there's been a lot of misinformation cast out there to all of us. Sometimes they're used as excuses. Sometimes it's a reason for something to be a certain way. We have no idea what the actual machine that is moving Motley Crue right now has actually got planned, but they got big plans, and they're going to tour. They're in the studio. They're making a new album. Mick is evidently not in that album. I find that utterly amazing, and I don't believe that's true.
Yeah, someone unbelievable to mention that. Thoughts on word that Nicky was in the studio and John 5 is in the studio with them.
Yes.
And I saw a thing Nicky had posted like new material going in the studio in a few days, and then unbelievable mentioned Bob Rock may be involved, which makes sense because you want to polish it to death.
Yeah.
But that is kind of dirty billiards considering Mick never quit the band. He only retired from active duty, which means if you're going in the studio, Charles, you're pulling Mick into the studio. You're not pulling. You might pull in John as well because again, layering tracks you can, but
Mick got to be songs that have been worked on over the last couple of years because Mick's been involved. He's been involved 2 years ago. This was all stuff. There's got to be songs and music that he's got a hand in. I would bet on that. His medical condition, as far as his ability to play, he was on Eddie Trunk just a couple of days ago. It just came out. I'm sure you guys, I hope you saw it. Mm-hmm. He's not only very cognitive and able to articulate his thoughts really well, he's physically worse than he was the last time we visited this conversation. The name of what he suffers from is it's called ankylosing spondylitis. I'm saying it wrong, but that's pretty damn close. Pretty close.
Close enough for this channel.
Well, he's had it since he was young. I mentioned this before. Since he was like 15, 16, he was diagnosed with it as a young boy. It has led to scoliosis, which is shortening of the spine, like 3 inches since he was in high school. He's frozen in position, can't turn his head from left to right. That's tough. So let's put it this way. He can turn it from left to right, but in order for him to do it, it's excruciating. So he doesn't do it, So seeing him like this, but willing to actually perform and still do his thing, guys, is pretty freaking killer. Pretty killer. Mm-hmm. And according to him and what he said, is he's still ready to rock and roll. And he's ready to come out with it, solo music. So he's already verbally going in the other direction from Motley Crue as we speak. And that is pretty freaking cool.
Yep. Yeah, maybe we'll finally get to hear the solo album, hopefully.
How cool would that be?
And you know what? And like say, if Motley is going in and recording new material without him, pull a David Lee Roth and put together a super group, Charles.
You know what I mean? Okay, so Mick Mars facts, right? He's the only member of Motley Crue who has always been there up till their retirement farewell tour. Okay, he was the only member who was static through the whole thing. When Nicky was out doing his thing with what's his name? Oh God, I wish I could remember it. Not Appetite for Destruction. Oh God, I can't remember it. Anyway, he was doing his solo thing. Vince does his solo thing. Yep. They call it their hiatus time. It's for a block.
Tommy did his solo thing, the Methods of Mayhem thing.
Tommy did his whole thing. He went into the whole rap thing, Method of Mayhem. He's actually, and they all have their accolades in their own way.
Brides of Destruction. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Brides of Destruction. I can't believe I could see. That's why the chat helps me out. I appreciate you guys, man. And so they all have their acute benefit and thing they do that they bring to that thing called Motley Crue. So you take Mick Mars out of Motley Crue, it's not Motley Crue anymore in the traditional sense in any way, shape, or form. It can't be. But I have a thought about this. I've had a thought about this for quite a while. I've never voiced it, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to go ahead and say it. When John 5 was announced as the guitar player for Motley Crue, I liked it. I said, wow, that's unique. That's
Mhm.
unique. Him and Mick actually good friends. They have a wonderful
And
history.
I thought it was a great idea because he is a great pro
Yes,
sideman. Like, if you want a
exactly.
chameleon, there you go. You
Well,
know,
he
he can,
knows all he knows the whole catalog. He's been playing it his whole life, essentially. Great person for it. At the time, when I actually was hearing about it, I know that Brendan B. Squared, one of our, this guy right here. You guys know that guy right there. I know you guys know him. He loves his favorite. That's cool. That's cool. It was a good moment. However, there's another guitar player who actually may have filled those shoes better than John Five. It's because we're not talking about necessarily a more accomplished guitar player than Mick Mars.
Oh,
We're
speaking
talking
of butt
about, because
cheeks,
that's
there
really
he is.
hard to argue. You can't even argue that because he's one of the, it's rock music. You can argue this all day. He's at the top of the mountain.
I'm curious on your pick because I have a pick myself, and I'm curious. And
I would have chosen Tracy Guns.
That's my pick.
Really? No
Yes.
way. No way.
Yes. Yes.
I swear you guys, we didn't talk about this. I was going to bring it up, and I said, you know what, Ben, I'm going to keep it for the chat.
Tracy
I think,
was
okay,
just
so let's
behind. Yeah,
let's go
perfect.
back.
Instead of having someone 10 years older, you got someone 5 years younger who's lived the same life. And
Well, there's LA Guns and Motley Crue have an incredibly
Tracy's a
gnarly
hell of a
connection.
player.
And the only reason so let me tell you a story. So back in 81, Motley Crue's a thing, and Tracy's 15 years old. Something like that. About 15, maybe 16. No, probably more 15. And that's the first couple of times I ever saw him running around. And he was always with a pack of 4 or 5 other people, most of the time, a little group. And he's in high school, wearing leather, trying to be a rock star. His favorite band, Motley Crue. The band that he emulated to be a musician was Motley Crue, right? Nikki Sixx and Tracy were actually best friends for a period of time. Best friends. They supported each other when they were both going through their. When Nikki Sixx went into his hiatus period, that's where him and we're talking Brides of Destruction. That's where him and Tracy got buddy, and they helped each other through a rough spot. And so, Ben, I lost my freaking train of thought. I hate when I do that.
That's okay. I'm just
help me
checking the
out.
comments.
Bring me back.
Yeah, Christopher Lifestyle. Yes, LA Guns has they're going out on the road themselves because they have a new album out.
Yes, they are
soon.
Yes, they are.
But I think you'd make it work, especially because we love LA Guns, but you're not playing the same venues as the stadium tour is, and the paycheck would be nice. Tracy would take the paycheck.
So Nikki and Tracy are helping each other out. They're going through this rough spot, and as time goes on, their friendship kind of falls apart. Okay, so for the last decade, they haven't spoken well about each other at all. There's all kinds of social media back and forth, and it's really sad. It really saddens me to see that, because one of the whole reasons that Tracy Guns became a musician was because of guys like Nikki Sixx. He had an incredible influence on Tracy.
I see that Jerry F is mentioning Punky Meadows as a choice. Yep, I agree.
Absolutely. And he had an incredible influence on him, and to the point where he's talked about it. If you are a Tracy Guns fan, everything I'm talking about, he pretty much talks about it very openly. He's such a class act. I can't wait to go see
I don't think he ever had a chance. Like LA Guns was never quite that big enough to make the stupid money to give you the inflated ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They were successful enough that he could have a middle class life. We'll say, it afforded him a middle class lifestyle, no problem. But it's not like Tracy can just sit back for decades and live off his laurels. He needs to still go out there and play and do his thing. And
they're gonna need to come out. They're going to tour. They're gonna make money working as a band, which is what they do. Not every band gets to be the Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And to some bands, guys, it's a blessing. How much shit have we heard about Motley Crue? Mick Mars, going back to Mick, he's the only member of Motley Crue that you don't really hear a bunch of drama about. You hear about life and bad things happening.
The only drama, if you want to call it, was his divorce, which it just be crazy. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's something we can all identify with.
Yeah. And if you don't think she's crazy, non-crazy exes don't burn up guys' guitar vaults. That's all I'm saying.
Right. That's just wrong.
No, you don't do that.
Well, the guitar.
Michael Cross was mentioning Rob Zombie, as usual, has been a gentleman, not said a thing about John 5 leaving. He's come and gone several times with Rob Zombie, so I think the gig is his if he wants it.
Mm-hmm. Well, when talking about Tracy Guns, going back to talking about the whole early days, just when he was young, mm-hmm. When it came time for Hollywood Rose and Guns N' Roses to morph and become Guns N' Roses as we know it, it was a very small window that Tracy and I forget the other guy's name. I forget his name. I hate that. Anyway, I'm sorry. I forgot the other guy's name, but they were only in the band for about 2 months. And then Axl and Steven Adler, Slash and Steven Adler came in, and mm-hmm. Appetite for Destruction was created at that point. And Slash really was a better guitar player fit for Guns N' Roses as we know it than Tracy mm-hmm. was at the time. Because Tracy at the time was still morphing into a guitar player. He was going through, in those days, he'd have been going through his Randy Rhoads phase. Okay?
Yeah, I think it would have been, had they stuck together and had they got signed, would have been another flash in the pan.
Maybe.
Like Poison-esque, because Tracy can shred and then do that, because I don't think Izzy would have been as much of an influence necessarily in that respect, or Izzy would have just quit sooner, one or the other, right? Either way,
Possibly,
but you could tell because whereas Izzy and Slash agreed, because you got to have that symbiotic between two guitar players. They both were like, "Hey, let's be the next Aerosmith instead of the next Van Halen," and they went, "Let's do it."
That's right. Yeah. So I've always thought that Slash was a better fit. Always a huge LA Guns fan. LA Guns is a specific type of what I call club rock. You can call them metal if you want. I call them hard rock. I call them a hard rock band is what I call them. And interesting. Just a little side thing here. I was fortunate enough. I went to the Underground here in Charlotte just last week, and I caught Trauma, the band. This is Cliff Burton's old band, mm-hmm. and I caught them doing a show. If I could have seen him 2 years ago, Hilliard, the lead singer, I would have remembered him from the club days, mm-hmm. and there was another gentleman, their drummer. I forget his last name, but he's still in the band, and I didn't recognize him. But I didn't recognize him at first. The whole show, as I'm watching him play, he's behind the kit, and I swear I didn't think he was. I couldn't recognize him. He didn't even look the same. Nothing the same. It's 40 years ago. And but when they got done, he came out to the front, and I'm looking at him, and I'm getting rid of the facial hair, and I'm like, damn, I remember this guy. So that was pretty cool. I didn't videotape any of their show. I was actually coming into the club when that started, and I got positioned, and I took a couple of still photos. But that show was Trauma with Marty Friedman and Queensryche. Okay. And so I come into the club and I'm with Logan, my son-in-law, and we make our way over to a spot.
What's up, Kurt?
Kurt, what's going on, bro? It's good to see
Doug
you, man.
Strong, Eric Warrington,
Doug, good to see you.
T. Ricky.
T. Ricky, what's up, bro? And I make my way over to the right-hand side of the club, and there's an elevated bar. It's just a couple of steps up. And there's a bar that's about 35 feet long. And then there's a long merch table connected to it. So the whole wall of the club on both sides are kind of similar, but the right side's elevated. And I made my way down to the end of the bar and I ordered a beer. And I threw my back up against the bar, and I realized that I was, 30 feet from the stage, and we were right in front of the stage.
Right.
And I could see backstage. Just the curtain had like a 2-foot crack in it, and I could see all kinds of characters back there. And I look and I see Wheaton freaking from Queensryche standing back there just talking, and I'm thinking, oh man, I got to videotape this, right? But they weren't coming on for a whole nother. Marty Friedman still hadn't come on yet, and so I started videotaping. I got a new iPhone, and I'm so glad I did. I got all of Marty Friedman's show. He showed up, no vocals. Mm-hmm. He came in and he brought 3 musicians from Tokyo, Japan with him, a girl playing bass, a guy playing drums, and another guy playing guitar. And they did about 8 to 10 songs, instrumental versions. And then in between the songs, one of the roadies would bring a microphone out and set it up, and then he would address the crowd. So I started filming, trying to shoot each song, but damn it, every time a song would stop, he would come up and start interacting with the crowd, and I couldn't miss that because this is the first time he's ever played Charlotte, ever.
Okay.
And so I'm like, I can't miss this. So I'm filming and I'm filming. I filmed the whole show, start to finish. Went to the bathroom between the show and came out, and I didn't know if the phone still had plenty of power in it, and I didn't realize, but I shot all of Queensryche, start to finish, and I'm still trying to break it down and edit it and get it right. But incredible shows. I mean, just in your face, and it's like when you watch the video, it's quite literally he's 20 feet away. You can see everything that's going on. But the 3 musicians that he brought with him from Tokyo, they didn't speak any English. The bass player was a little girl. And when I say a little girl, I swear, Ben, you guys, this girl maybe weighed 85 pounds, maybe 90 pounds. The bass she's playing weighed half her freaking weight. Okay, she's playing this, and she was just unbelievably awesome. I've got it all on tape. His guitar player was this young kid, just a shred kid. It was just awesome, phenomenal. And between him and Marty, they'd obviously been doing this a very long time. They were very in tune, very cohesive. It was fantastic. But the drummer, this kid, he's a wrecking ball. I don't know any other way to say it. Unbelievable. And he was dressed the kabuki dancers, the kabuki from Japan, that white with the crazy hair and the scary mask, and whatever. He was kind of dressed like that. And it was very cultural, and it was so cool. I've got it all on tape. I'm going to share it with you guys. It'll be up soon. I was nice. The night I got there and I started seeing it, I was actually sending Christopher photos, and Holly Lewis, I was sending them both photos. And then promising them a video, and I apologize, you guys. I just shot the whole damn show, and I got to break it up. But during Queensryche, I'm holding the camera up over my head, and it's really important that you pay attention and look at that camera. And so, I did Queensryche for an hour and 47 minutes. I did Marty Friedman for a little less than 50 minutes. So my arms were kind of tired, so I really had to focus on the camera, because if I started looking around, I would move the camera slightly and be showing their feet or looking at the ceiling. Got to keep it quality, right?
Mm-hmm. So
halfway through Queensryche, I feel this bump against my shoulder. And I just kind of go give it one of those. I kind of look over, I look down, I go back like this, and I'm looking eye to eye with the drummer from Marty Friedman, the Japanese kabuki dude, right? Who had done just the most guys, a wrecking ball, unbelievably cool. And so it's on camera. It'll be on my thing. You'll get to see it. I literally take the camera down and I spin around, and Marty had a buddy who lived in Charlotte who came out and played a song or two as well. A local kid here from Charlotte. I wish I forget his name. I apologize. But he and the drummer were at the bar. There's how long standing next while I was filming the show. I don't know. If he hadn't bumped my arm, I may not have even noticed because I wasn't paying attention, you know. But I turn around and I get these guys on camera, and I was just screaming at them like, dude. And they were like, we're giving them these things. But it's all on there. It's very funny. You'll get a kick out of that.
Awesome. But
it was really good.
Gas station?
What's going on, bro?
Richard Magnitsu says he wanted to go to that show, I think.
Oh, Richard. Yeah, the underground. You know, bro. So we got so many good clubs in Charlotte. We were very blessed with great places to see shows. A big diversity of size and content. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Let me tell you who else is wonderful.
Oh my God, it's Charles 75 in. What's up, bro?
How are you, Quentin? Okay, I got a Quentin James story, and he asked for it. He asked for this. He asked.
Not bad. Yep.
He asked for it.
He did.
So, as you guys know, I'm into Quentin James a little bit. I think he's one of the coolest breaths of fresh air on YouTube. This shirt right here is one of my favorite shirts of all time.
Nice.
I cannot go anywhere without somebody making a comment about this shirt. Now, sometimes it's not a good comment. Sometimes they look at me and they get a look of disgust because there's a curse word in the thing on this. Those of you know, this is Godzilla totally exasperated from Quentin. Okay. So anyway, I'm standing in line at our local grocery. It's not a Kroger. If it was a Kroger, that would be priceless, but it's not.
That would be perfect, right?
But it's a Food Lion, but I'm in line. This was 3 days ago. And I'm noticing this lady on the aisle next, and she's, we're just looking around, waiting, try to get her stuff paid for and get out of there. And I've noticed she's reading the shirt. And she says, "Pardon me, sir." Very nice lady, She looked like a school teacher, quite literally. And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she says, "That's Godzilla, right?" And I said, "Yes, it is." And she says, "Well, who's Quentin James?" She says to me. And I said, "Ma'am," "do you YouTube?" And she says, "Well, yes." I said, "Well, you need to YouTube that." So Quentin, bro, you probably got a new subscriber. That's all I'm saying, brother. That's where I'm going, man. Love it, brother.
Nice. That's awesome. I get it because I've worn my Boner Jams shirt to the grocery store and I get a few odd looks. I'm not gonna lie. So a Quentin James shirt though. Oof. Yeah.
I love
next
it,
level.
That's great. He's got one of the best attitudes of the people we know in this chat, in this little group we hang with. I like Quentin a lot, man.
Jerry F is asking what OG Kush tonight. There we go.
Very nice. Very
awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I see Brendan B. Squared in the chat there.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Brendan. I haven't seen you in a minute, brother. Very cool.
You can catch Brendan over on Fruitcake Tony's channel. Check it out, folks, as well as check out Kurt 5150's channel along with Boner Jams, the Under the Bus Network, all the cool kids.
Very cool. Very cool.
Michael says, "I'm always more friendly at the catch-up line because of Quentin James." Nice. I still remember going through the drive-thru of an In-N-Out burger, and when the lady asked, "Is there anything else?" JJ says, "Yeah, an extra ketchup for Quentin James." And I believe JJ then mailed said catch up to Quentin James.
No way.
Charles 75N says, hey, try wearing a Canucks with guitar shirt in Texas. Just saying.
That's awesome. By the way, quick shout out to Charles, man. Really, really good work you do, bro. Really good work. I'm, in the future, I'm going to ask you to do me a fabric guitar. I have it all figured out what I want. Speaking of guitars, though, I just finished my build on the I call it a Bumble Wolf.
Yes.
It's kind of what I'm calling it. Can I show you guys real quick? You want to see it? It's
twist that rubber arm of mine.
You guys talk about guitars for a great while. So this is a evil thing. What is called a special. And the wrist lock and body. And I had Neil Daly paint it for me. And I wanted a Bumblebee that was relict, as if Eddie had played it for, 40 plus, 40 years. We'll call it 40 years.
That looks great.
And so, and let me show you the back here. I didn't show you the back. So it is a fully relict Bumblebee. It is all FU tone parts, with the exception of a Switchcraft pot, a Switchcraft jack, and a Switchcraft switch. These are FU tone humbuckers. The bridge is a 15.5, and the neck is a 10.
I thought it was 10. Might even be 11.
Well, this is according to Adam. This is a 10. It's a 10 and a 15.5. I could be wrong.
Somebody's backed off the windings a bit. Yeah, I have the OG ones, and I think they were like 11, 11.8.
I could be wrong, bro. I could be, but I don't think I am. I don't think so. They're just hot enough to make me happy.
Yep.
I did try the 20K Mighty Might just to see. Much. I just wanted to see. And let me show you the back of this. But the thing I love about this guitar the most, other than the, FU tone Floyd, is if you look at the headstock on there, Neil Daly, I asked him for spiders on the Bumblebee.
Oh, yeah.
And so he put spiders. See the little spiders?
Love it.
See them? And then on the back, he put, I don't know if you can see that little cluster or not, but there's spiders.
Love it.
As a nest. And so when I look at the Bumblebee, now on the back of the original Bumblebee, there's no what I call spider webs.
Right.
But there's two on the front of the original. There's no, the headstock on this is custom because it's, one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really, I really appreciate all of Neil's work. I appreciate Chris Locke for making necks and bodies that they're just wonderful, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how easy. So I built the guitar. I essentially assembled it after the paint and the actual work was done, creating the neck and the body. It's not hard to do. Intonating a guitar, intonating a Floyd, it's not that hard either. You just try it a couple of times. It's trial and error. That's half the fun of what we do, you guys. You know that.
Yeah. Dialing it in.
I mean, if you don't get it wrong, you don't learn anything. So,
right.
Don't fear the Floyd. Good God, don't fear it. But I'm so happy with this guitar. I'm going to have to get a new strap now from Lewis at Fairfield Guitars for the guitar. I'm going to have to. I'm using the banjo strap I got from him on it now, but it needs its own strap. That goes on the Hop the Teacher. So
Owner Jams with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, it's a special night here with Charles Greene. Pull out the Lamb of God guitars, my man. Ben, looking handsome as always. Thanks, buddy. Have a great week, everyone.
You rock, Boner. You rock, brother. It's good to see you too, bro. So I don't know what's going to happen to Motley Crue at this point. here's what I want. This is what I want. Who cares about anything else, right? It's what we want as fans. This is what I want. I want Mick Mars to put his solo album out. I want him to make music that he wants to make. He has been the backbone of one of the biggest bands in rock history for 4 decades. He's already come out of retirement, right? He's given us.
Would you say he's come out of retirement twice? Because really the hiatus, like they were down for a long time. That was a reformation.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned.
And what he did during that whole time was he's been on Papa Roach albums. He's been on Hinder's albums. There's dozens of projects that he kept himself busy with without leaving Motley Crue.
And without actually doing a solo album.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, that's all I'm going to rant about Motley Crue. We're going to all sit back and see what happens. And out of all of this, I wish all those boys the best. And Mick, I wish you really good health, bro. Period. Just period. These guys have given us a lot of music. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. They've always been a dramatic, drama-filled band.
The only thing I'm going to say on it was I did not like it when Nikki said, we've been propping you up for the last 2 years on tour. And all I could think of was, who were the partiers back in the day and how many nights did Mick carry the show?
I'll tell you something else. When that band started, the only one who had any money was Mick. And he took his life savings at the time, which was a pretty considerable amount of money. It was a few $1,000s, and he put it into that band. And then he connected them up with one of his cousins, through his first cousin, with Alan Kaufman and his wife, who are the reason Motley Crue are Motley Crue. Because they wouldn't have existed or been able to live as a cohesive unit and become who they were had he not put them under his wing and fed them and put them in a place right up the street from the club that they ended up taking over. So, there's a lot of, little things that may or may not have happened, but those are the facts. I mean, that's facts. So he's got a vested interest in that band, period, that goes way deeper than just being just a member of a band. He's vested a lot more than just time. So
exactly.
And
if you decide to record a new solo album, Mick, my God, have a film crew document it. And that's the film, the making of that album, because that'll be awesome.
Yes.
With some sit down interviews and stuff, because there's not a lot of interview material out there with Mick.
And with their new adventures with John 5. Guys, as fans, I want them to be successful. I want them to come up with something new and fresh and entertain the hell out of us. I mean, that's what I want. And they're very capable of it. I know for a fact that Tommy can still play drums, so I'm not worried about him not having it. And, Nicky's, let's just be honest, he's a brilliant songwriter. He's a brilliant, brilliant songwriter. All those songs that we love, he wrote them. He came up with the concept of them, the lyrics mostly, and the general riff of the song. But they all play their part, guys. They all play their part. And you take one of them out, and you do not have Motley Crue. That's my
Owner James asked, is John 5 overrated? I don't think so.
I don't think so at all. I think John 5.
The man can excel at several genres of music, and I can't excel at one. So
yeah. He's multifaceted as far as his ability.
That's why, he's one of the great pro sidemen out there for that reason, because he can slip into pretty much any situation, and he can be John 5 or he can be invisible and play the parts. It's all what you want.
I would have rather seen Tracy Guns playing Mick Mars's guitar lines than I would John 5 personally. I really would. Tracy can play them all. He plays them all. He plays them really, really well. And I truly believe he would have gone into Motley Crue if it wasn't for his feud with Nikki.
which is still pretty, I'm going to say pretty raw, since I saw a little something get between the singer of LA Guns and Nikki the other night on social media. They were getting into it with
something new has reared its head. I'm not aware of it, Ben.
It was funny because the singer, he had put out quite the rant, like, oh, just slagging Motley Crue. He goes, that said, if Vince retired and they hired me I'd do it in a heartbeat, because I would be doing stadiums. It's like, fair enough.
You'd be doing it.
He says, I would take the paycheck and do it. That was his words.
Don't blame him at all. Hey, Vince, back in the day, these guys was incredibly handsome. He was very, very good at singing those songs, and you couldn't duplicate him. There wasn't another guy anywhere who sounded like him. Their sound was so unique that it just that's the reason you can't unplug one of them and put somebody else in, because it just changes. We've seen Motley Crue.
Unbelievable says, I hope Mick and John Corabi's album slays. There's some friction there between those two, so I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Corabi was in the band for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. The band's got to have drama. That's, you can't knock it. It's like expecting, they're not going to be choir boys. They're not supposed to be choir boys. That's not who they are. It's just not who they are.
Apparently, we found Mick Mars' next replacement. This was just sent in. This is breaking news. There we are.
That's it right there, man. That's a priceless photo, Quentin. That's Quentin James, you guys.
And I'd like to know how he got my Kramer, because that's my Kramer.
That's a beautiful guitar, and that's really cool memories, buddy. That's priceless. That's priceless right there. Very cool.
Michael Chris says, no one sounds like Vince now. Thankfully, that's true. Vince is trying. I will say that. He's trying.
Even with his voice out the way it is, I must say it's out. He doesn't sing anything like he used to. He's really? He's getting old. What do you want?
Probably confirmed he laid down tracks for Mick's album. Interesting. So yeah, I saw an interview with John Corabi last year, and he didn't sound like he was. Then again, it might have been more towards the band in general, but there was still some heat being thrown there.
Corabi's a fantastic singer. He really is.
And a good player too.
Wonderful. He's a great guitar player. Not just one. Fantastic. He's very accomplished. Just goes to show you the fit is what's important. The fit's important. You take these super groups. It's not always about being the most accomplished musician. Sometimes you just got to fit the bill correctly.
Exactly. You can't necessarily put a 5-piece band together with 5 alphas that are all want to be in the spotlight. It's not going to work.
Doesn't work. Rock ain't easy, guys. Rock ain't easy, right? Been fortunate enough. So last time I was on, did I talk about going to see Wasp and Armored Saint? Did we talk about that?
Yes, I think.
So. Well, Armored Saint, I was fortunate enough to see the Sandoval brothers.
What's up, Stephen Holt?
They were there in the very beginning. I remember both.
Bonkers.
Thank you. And just characters. And so I'm getting really fortunate now in these small venues. I'm really loving the clubs. Now I know why guys like Christopher Sova, they have their spots and they're comfortable going to them in the clubs, and they spend so much time there seeing these bands. The bands are coming. My goodness, it's ridiculous. And I'm getting to see bands that I haven't seen since I was a kid. I'm getting to see guys who were kids when I was, who I saw in bands, and I'm having the best damn time nowadays with music. So it's
I'm thinking of like bands that you'd see them in the club, right? Say 40 years ago, and then and it's almost like you go see them now. It's like We all survived. You're still doing it. I'm still here. We all survived.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of shows coming up here that my kids are taking me to. They're dragging me to all kinds of stuff this year.
Nice.
Very, very good year. It's so funny how we've come so far from where we were in the last couple of years, I can remember a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, just being in the middle of COVID, a couple of years ago, being in the middle of COVID and wanting so badly to hear Guitar Hack, his band, just one of the two bands he was in at the time, just get back in a bar and play some flipping music, please. Just jonesing for that. No, we've come out of it, guys. It's really great out there in the clubs right now. The vibe with the community is still really good. I hope at least it is here. I hope it's good where you guys are. But no, out there.
I'm looking forward to June 3rd, meeting up with Billy Baloney and others at Cosmo for their music fest. And there's a couple bands playing. One I've seen live before, Lighthouse, very similar to Chicago. Think of them, they're Canada's equivalent of Chicago. Excuse me. And then 5440 will be playing as well, which I'm looking forward to. As well as vendors and just meeting up with people. That's going to be just fun.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Saturday, June 3rd. So anybody that's in Southern Ontario, I think Doug Strong will be there. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, George. He says, yeah, Cosmo Fest. Hey, George, if you're going to be there, say hi. Look for me. Cannot wait. For that.
We managed to get through. I give a little shout out to Laz. He just did NAMM. I enjoyed watching, Ben, I got to tell you, ever since you went to NAMM, the last year you were at NAMM, it not only did we go, COVID obviously ruined everything.
Yeah.
But that was the year that I actually got in tune with you and got watching you. It was your NAMM coverage. Nobody does it like you, bro. I was really wishing you were going to go and do another NAMM. Laz was awesome. I'm not taking away from anything Laz does. I thoroughly enjoyed all the content, him and the stuff that Johnny put up and everything. I enjoyed it all. But you have a gift for interviewing. You have a gift for walking up to someone and asking them questions. And it's really, really cool, Ben. I wish you would do that again. I've said that on past shows.
I'm hoping that there's going to be some people at Cosmo that I can do that with.
Very cool. I would love to see that content. You always get them to open up. Get them to open up. You've got that thing.
Hey, Elephant Foot Risers.
What's going on, bro?
Check out Elephant Foot Risers. And if you don't know what an elephant foot riser is, it's a riser for your pedals. Get them up off the board. Get some access to it. It's just saying.
So, Ben, does that help putting a degree of lean to it? Is what you're saying?
They do make some that do a lean as well.
Or it just basically just brings it closer to you by elevating it off the floor, because that's cool.
Yeah, so easier access on that one pedal. Just secure into place. Boom. I guess you can secure it on. I don't know. They have enough static friction. He says, thanks, bro. Just made our first sale in Canada. Awesome. So
that's awesome, dude. Very cool. Very cool.
Doug Strong says $20 if you can get Paul Reed Smith to stay on track for 3 straight minutes. Oh, then I'd have to talk to Paul Reed Smith, Doug. Come on now. Although he is going to be there, but I'm not paying to see him. I'll put it that way.
Cool. Very cool, man.
Use a rubber band at least. Well, you could do that, I suppose.
Does that riser actually, does it just fasten to any generic board, or is there like a board that it comes with that those risers?
You could. That's a good question. I'm not quite sure on that. That's the one part I didn't really talk about in the demo, is how to fasten these to your board. Kind of left that out. Sent some screws though. I assume you could use them. I don't know. And it's hogged out, so the screws will countersink down inside. So yeah, probably screw them to your pedal board, I guess.
That's awesome.
They're cool. Just talked to Greg Godovich. I did last time, Patrick. He's in the intro video, one of my intro videos there. Everyone's like, hey, that's you with Paul Reed Smith. Like, no, that's Greg Godovich, actually.
Oh my goodness. What else is new, you guys? Anyone got any questions?
Okay. He says it's meant to be screwed down or use Velcro circles. Well, that makes sense.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's versatile with basically any pedal board.
Yeah. Which is great because like a pedal train that's, you can get underneath and put your wires. But mine, it's one big patch of carpet basically. So I can't do that. So this allows for cable routing underneath if you need to, because you might be bypassing a pedal. So yeah, cool stuff. There's a demo will be out on them.
Like it's elevated enough to put a power source too under there, maybe.
Yep. And then some are less, like these ones here. They're just more or less like a slight cradle. But yeah, they're really cool. And made in New York City area, as I recall.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, demo out this coming week, folks.
Nice.
Came in last week, and I shot an unboxing video, and then I was like, might as well just hit record again and do a demo right here now. Except I don't involve the pedal board. Just kind of talk about them and stuff. Question: worst and best night on the Strip.
Oh wow.
There we go. New Rochelle, New York. That's where they're made.
Best night on the Strip was New Year's Eve, 1981 into 82. It was an extra special show. Oingo Boingo was playing along with a band called Gary Myrick and the Figures. Incredible live bands for the clubs. Very loud. You think Oingo Boingo? No, these guys were seriously rock. They crossed genres. It was you can find people who were into new wave, rockabilly, punk. They would show up at Oingo Boingo. They were very unique.
They were.
500 people were in the club. They were over capacity. It was when midnight hit. It was just a very spectacular moment. I remember there was a lot of VIP people were there. That's one of my absolute favorite show moments. It was kind of magical. I had been with my girlfriend for a while. We had literally like just been engaged. That was, we'd been dating, but we were getting engaged then. It was very cool. One of the best moments and time periods in my life, period, was during that. Now, I had a lot of horrible nights in Hollywood. Horrible nights that ended with me standing at police cars with ambulances and all kinds of bullshit. Okay. I've got several bad stories that I wouldn't even share with you guys. We don't even need to go there. But I would have to say that would try.
Hey, new channel member, Alpha Foot Rider.
Awesome. Excellent. I would have to say that the violent side of Hollywood and the violent side of my job and what I did was the downside of my world and how things went down there. It was horrible, but it was absolutely fantastic at the same time. It was bittersweet. I can remember lots of situations where the police had to be called. People had to go to the hospital. Friends of mine, I never saw them again, not necessarily because they passed away, but because they were either hurt or one of my friends got cut in the face so badly he didn't go out in public for a couple of years. It was the healing was devastating. So, not to dwell on it, but the downside of Hollywood is horrible. The upside of it is fantastic. That's why everybody wants it. I was a blessed, fortunate guy the whole time I worked there. Quite literally. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I got a question for you. Fish out of water type situation, like let's say the Go-Go's are playing and like the fish out of water would be like Lemmy shows up, or you know what I mean? Like situation, you're working a club and you look and you're like, what is this person doing here watching this band? Like you would never think that, and they're obviously they're there not to be seen because we get people that show up for that reason, but someone you can tell like they're there to see that act.
You remember Uma Thurman? Remember Uma Thurman, the actress?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
She one time she was really, really big into punk. She liked punk shows, and she was very young. She wasn't anybody at the time, but I remember her. That's moments like that when people would be maybe a celebrity or someone who's trying to maybe get to that next level and whatever it is they do, whether it be music or acting or whatever, getting to see them come into the club and enjoying something that they're not normally connected with.
Right.
I mentioned like Laverne and Shirley, Cindy Williams, and those guys were just class people. The class people, they're wonderful, but they enjoyed music. So they'd show up and you get to see them at times when they didn't have their guard up. They weren't acting. Right. They weren't trying to be somebody other than that.
Yeah. Because you get the people that go out just to be seen as much as anything else. But
I got to see a lot of actors. Sure. I use the word loosely because everybody in Hollywood, I never got into it, but damned if everybody I didn't hang out with wasn't going to a casting call from time to time, or model / actress. I mean, my fiance, she was an actress. She was a model, and she was a cocktail waitress. That's what she did. That's what her friends did. Let's talk about Lemmy. I talk about Lemmy from time to time. Lemmy tolerated me. I was fortunate enough to get to run into him. Because at that time when I was in Hollywood, Motorhead was touring, man. They were everywhere on the road. He lived in a tour bus at that time, and they all did. And I can remember him showing up for a show one time. He always came through the stage door, but this particular time there was a knock at the back door, and I open it up, and he's standing there, and he's got some guy with him. Some guy. I don't know who the hell he was, but Wendy O. Williams, Plasmatics were playing. It was a sold out show. And he was coming there to hang and spend some time with Wendy and the band. And, and I can remember watching the show. It was 2 shows that night. I remember standing there and him not wanting to, he'd go to the bar upstairs and get a drink. And then he'd come and he'd hang out, and he kind of wanted to hang out in the shadows. And there was a shadow area over to the left-hand side of the stage door where maybe 12 seats would sit. And he would tuck himself in the corner and hang out there. And just getting to remember him sitting there watching the Plasmatics and the look on his face. I used to do that. I would watch the other people watching the band. It was my job. That's what I did. I had to watch everybody else kind of enjoy the show.
Look, Lawrence, okay, LPD Pedals popping in real quick.
What's going on, man? Good to see you, Lawrence. Right on, bro. So I had to do that. And one of the biggest joys I had was getting to watch people watch what they enjoyed doing. I've told you stories of people like Peter Frampton or Al Stewart. I remember Al Stewart, You're the Cat, right?
Yeah.
Right? What a class act. Nice guy. He shows up at the door. I open it up and I'm looking at him, and I couldn't quite place him, but he was there. He was a known person. It took me a minute. but he introduced himself to me before I recognized him. And he had such a pleasant vibe about him. He was so nice and everything. So he comes in, and I was always polite when I answered the door. I would, especially if you were, a VIP or whatever you want to call it, I would say something to you like, if you need anything, just let me know. My name is so-and-so, whatever you need, come and ask me, and I'll make it happen for you. And so he comes up to me, and he literally took me up on it. About 5 minutes later, he came up and he said, "Is there somewhere I could possibly get me a seat?" And I said, "Man," I said, "this we were sold out. It was a sold out show." And I said to him, "You know what, man?" I said, I had a little stool that I kept. I tucked it back, and I said, "Here," and I grabbed it and I put it in a place where no one ever should sit, ever. And I popped him up on there, and I watched it the whole day. I think we were watching. Oh God, who was it? Oh, I don't remember. It was a female. It was a girl. I can't remember her name. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember her name. But stool. Let's see, Richard. Let me hit the rainbow. That could happen, bro. That could definitely happen. Oh, yeah. Smoking a cigarette. I can smoking one smoker, bud. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Richard, I would love to get with you sometime and just trade some stories back and forth. We were at the same place. A little different time.
Yeah.
Time schedule, I think, but very cool, brother. That's awesome.
And as I recall, Richard lives like 15, 20 minutes away from you too.
Yes, he does. We'll make something happen here, if that's okay with you, Richard. I would like that to happen. I noticed that Christopher Silva asking about Sam Kinison. I saw Sam Kinison. I never ever got to interact with him really, but I did get to see Sam. And had I stayed at the Whiskey another year and a half, I'd have lived that long. I would have got to interact with him when they did the video. Feel good. That would have been really cool. It's funny. I also look back at history and I say, damn, if I'd have just been a little more patient, if I just waited a little bit longer, we all do that shit, right? Yeah. One of my most, I talk about the violence and everything. John Belushi was one of my favorite actors. I got to see him the night before he passed away.
John was asking what I was eating. Oh, just a little watermelon.
Oh, cool, dude. Very cool.
A little 50 milligram, just something to take the edge off.
Awesome. He shows up at the back door. He says, "Can I come in, pal?" I let him in the door. He's in there for a while. He's hanging out with these kids in togas. They're partying. And he's there for a while and he leaves. I go to the club next door after hours. My girlfriend's, one of the waitresses had a little cover band. They did Stones tunes. They went over there and they practiced next door in this after hours club, right next door to the Whiskey. And so it's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're coming out in Belushi's in a limousine. He comes pulling up. He gets out and wants to come and have a beer. I wish we'd have brought him in. Wish so, but we told him no. We said, "No, dude, it's closed, and we're sorry." It was really more my boss, but I regret that tremendously regret that. But that's how it is, guys. LA's got its ups and downs. That's just the way it is.
Very highs and very lows.
Yeah, the lows are horrible. The highs are what they're all working for. And they don't all get it. They don't all get it, man. Definitely not.
Exactly. Well, we should probably wrap things up here, Charles, because you've got an early day tomorrow.
I'm really tired too. I apologize to you guys, but
we will definitely do another one of these soon, folks.
Yeah, but to the chat, I love you guys. I appreciate getting to get on here and run my mouth. I love you guys. Ben, thank you. Thank you again so much.
Always a pleasure, Brother Charles. Always a pleasure. And yeah, we'll definitely do this again soon. And, you know, and it's funny, we were saying off air, it's like we had booked a date a couple months ago, and then boom, the John 5 announcement happens. And then we had set this up a while ago, and then boom, more Motley Crue news. So it's just happenstance.
And it's not over. We'll do this again, and we'll have more to talk about. But that's all good, guys.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Feel button. So thanks everybody that tuned in. If you haven't already, please leave a thumbs up. You know, that it helps algorithms. And if you're watching on replay, especially at this point, comment a hello in the chat or in the comments or whatever. I'll be back tomorrow night with Terry and Trev doing Canucks with Guitars. Next Sunday, Canucks with Guitars will be next Sunday instead of Monday, because 1 week from tomorrow, we're doing the 1 year anniversary tribute to David Nesdahl here on the channel.
Very, very cool. Don't want to miss that. We missed
a bunch of people coming on. Desiree is handling all the bookings and stuff, and then I just sent her the link and she sends it to everybody else. So
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
looking very forward to
that. So far, I'm just going to quickly say Rob Johnson will be joining us, and I believe Larry Mitchell will be joining us. So,
wow, that's cool. You know,
among others.
That's great. That's
assuming that everything works out well. So, folks,
extra special.
Yeah, hold those doors open. Let Charles in head in traffic. He's busy.
Please.
He's busy. He's busy, is what I'm saying. And be good to each other. Happy tone chasing. Doug's wife is real. And of course, don't litter. Just don't.